Hello, I'm Martin Park. For those that don't know me, I'm a naturopath and a master coach and trainer who has been working professionally in health, fitness, wellness, and personal development for over 46 years. If you are someone who is interested in learning how to maximize your overall health, well-being, and performance, then welcome. Today, I'm going to talk about something that affects every single one of us at some point in our lives. I'm going to talk about the act of knowingly or unknowingly walking around with shit underneath your nose. And no, I don't mean literally. I'm not talking about personal hygiene issues, though if you've actually got something questionable under your nose, then perhaps deal with that first before you continue listening. What I am talking about is something my mother used to say to me and my brothers when we were sulking, being negative, grumpy, or just plain miserable. She'd look at us and say, "Stop walking around with shit underneath your nose." And we knew exactly what she meant. She meant that we were carrying around a bad attitude and letting negativity stink up our whole day, our energy, and the way we interacted with the world. And most of the time, we weren't even aware of it. We were just sitting in our own stink, completely oblivious to the fact that the problem wasn't the world around us, it was us. So today, I want to ask you, are you walking around with shit underneath your nose? Because if you are, then maybe it's time to wipe it off. First, let's do a quick check via a few questions to see if this condition may be affecting you. Are you quick to see the downside of everything, e.g., glass half empty, and it's probably dirty too, and possibly too small or the wrong type? Do you wake up already dreading the day ahead? Do you find yourself complaining more than appreciating and enjoying? Do you get irritated by small things that shouldn't really matter? Do you feel like the people around you just don't understand or support you? Has anyone recently told you to lighten up, relax, or stop being so negative? And finally, and this is a big one, do you feel heavy, like you're carrying a backpack full of rocks you don't even remember packing? If any of that rings a bell, then there's a very good chance that you are carrying around a bit of that invisible stink. And if you are, then how have you ended up in this situation? Well, like a lot of things I talk about, it's not entirely your fault, but it is your responsibility to deal with it, so let's unpack why this can happen. First off, your brain loves a good story, and unfortunately, it's a lazy storyteller that loves to stick to the same old script if you let it, as it is easy. If you've had a rough patch, maybe a bad week, a tough year, or just a lifetime of little disappointments, your brain starts defaulting to woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. It's like a broken record, and negativity is the tune it knows best. Psychologists call this the negativity bias. We're wired to notice what's wrong more than what's right, which was fine back in the caveman days as it kept us alive. Spot the bear, not the pretty flowers. But now it just keeps us miserable. Second, it's comfortable. Yes, you heard that right. Being grumpy and miserable can feel good, like sinking into a well-worn out favorite chair. It's familiar. It doesn't ask you to change or to try or risk failing at something new. You get to be the victim, and there's a weird kind of power and comfort in that. The world's out to get me, so why should I bother? Type of thing. It's an easy excuse to stay put and do absolutely nothing. And third, sometimes it's a signal. That bad attitude might be your mind or body waving a red flag saying, "Hello, anybody listening? Something is off here." Maybe you're exhausted or stressed or living on junk food or drinking too much or not sleeping enough. I've got a whole satirical episode on how to best ruin your health if you need a refresher. Episode 104, check it out. Point here is negativity can be a symptom, not just a choice. But whatever the reason, brain wiring, comfort, or a cry for help, it's still on you to break the cycle, because no one's coming to scrape that mess off for you. No Superman, no Batman, no Wonder Woman. You are going to have to do this on your own, which unfortunately means work. And why should you bother putting in that work? Well, here's a few things to consider. Walking around with shit under your nose isn't just annoying for the people around you. It's a wrecking ball to your health, well-being, and happiness. Negativity, whether about a person, a situation, or an event, triggers the release of inflammatory cytokines which fuel chronic inflammation, a key factor in diseases like heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, and even Alzheimer's. When you carry a negative attitude, your body reacts as though it's under attack. Your stress hormones rise, your blood pressure increases, your immune function declines, and even your digestion and breathing can be negatively affected. And all this happens automatically as your body can't distinguish between actual physical threats and psychological ones. So over time, your brain literally rewires itself through experience-dependent neuroplasticity, strengthening the neural circuits that focus on problems, unfairness, and lack, turning you into a master at spotting negativity, which continues to deepen the cycle. In simple terms, when you're walking around with a negative attitude, your body is literally marinating in inflammatory chemicals. It's like voluntarily choosing to give yourself a low-grade infection day after day, year after year. And it's not just your own health that's affected, as negative emotions are contagious. Thanks to mirror neurons in our brains, when you're stuck in negativity, you unknowingly spread it to others, affecting your family, friends, and colleagues, except instead of a cold virus, you're spreading biochemical negativity. So how do you stop walking around with shit underneath your nose? Here are my top recommendations. First, learn to recognize when you're doing it. Awareness is always the first step, as you can't fix what you don't see. Most people have no idea how negative their internal dialogue has become because it's so habitual. So start paying attention. When you catch yourself grumbling or slumping through the day, pause. Say to yourself, yep, there's that shit under my nose again. No judgment, just awareness, like turning on a light in a dark room. Second, once you spot it, break the pattern. Do something, anything to shake it off. Stand up and stretch, change your posture, take 5 deep breaths, splash cold water on your face, crank up some music and dance like an idiot for 30 seconds. And I don't care if you look silly, as no one's grading you. The point is to jolt your brain out of its grumpy groove. Anything that breaks the neurological pattern is a good thing. Third, practice gratitude deliberately. Not the fluffy feel-good kind, but the practical kind. Each morning, identify one specific thing you are genuinely grateful for. Make it different each day. This habit literally retrains your brain's reticular activating system to start noticing the positive aspects of your environment. Fourth, move your body vigorously every day. Nothing clears negative neurochemistry faster than physical movement. You don't need to run a marathon. Even a brisk 10-minute walk can reset your biochemistry and your mood. Just do something and do it regularly. Fifth, serve others. When you're focused on helping someone else, it's neurologically impossible to maintain negative self-focus. So volunteer, mentor, or simply perform small acts of kindness throughout your day, as the payback for your efforts will not only be beneficial to you, but also to whoever you are assisting, so a double bonus. And lastly, sixth, and this is very important in today's oversaturated world, limit your exposure to negative inputs. Be ruthless about this. The news, social media feeds, forums, gossip sessions, and complainers, whether they're family, friends, or the guy or girl at the gym, these are all smearing metaphorical shit right under your nose. You don't need to become a hermit and uninformed, but you do need to be selective. And this is especially true for digital consumption. Social media and the 24-hour content and information cycle have created what psychologists call a negativity bias on steroids. Our brains are already wired to pay more attention to threats and problems than to opportunities and solutions. It's an evolutionary survival mechanism. But social media algorithms specifically exploit this tendency, feeding us an endless stream of insecurities, outrage, conflict, and crisis. Consider this. If you're spending hours scrolling through negativity, arguments, or sensationalized news and feeds, don't be surprised if you start feeling irritable, angry, or hopeless, as you're absorbing that negative energy even if you don't realize it. You start your day by checking your phone or the internet, and before you've gotten out of bed, you've exposed yourself to dozens of miseries, crises, conflicts, and catastrophes from the small to the monumental and from all around the world. The effect? Your body responds with stress hormones, your mind narrows its focus to threats, your mood darkens, and there it is, digital shit right under your nose before you've even brushed your teeth. So in regard to your digital life, my top 5 recommendations. 1. Curate your feed ruthlessly. Unfollow, mute, or block any accounts that consistently leave you feeling worse. 2. Make a conscious choice to follow an eclectic and diverse mix of content instead of the doom scrolling, hero worshipping, and validation seeking from like-minded voices that only serve to reinforce your confirmation biases. 3. Avoid getting sucked into pointless online debates. Whether you are active or just a passive reader, it's not worth it. Let it go. 4. Set specific time limits. Use a timer on your phone. No overruns, ever. And 5, institute a no screens first hour and last hour rule for your mornings and evenings. Remember, you are not obligated to consume content that makes you feel terrible, period. And finally, this doesn't mean denial or toxic positivity, as let's face it, shit happens all the time, as that's part of the journey of life. But you can willfully acknowledge difficulties and still maintain a constructive outlook, as it's not about pretending life's perfect, it's about refusing to let the imperfect define who you are and how you live. Put simply, it's not about pretending there's no shit in the world, it's about not choosing to keep it right under your nose all day long. For those that need my assistance with any of this, I will leave a link in the description. I thank you for tuning in today. I appreciate your company. I look forward to spending some time with you again. Bye for now.